Good to go? Alrighty. So this is Spyro 1, starting in 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah, 140. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to be running this, but it's it's not too hard to pick back up at short notice. So this is Spyro the Dragon, first Spyro game. Kind of a lot less, if you watched my Spyro 3 run from earlier in the marathon, you would have seen I was doing like out of bounds stuff and mini games and that all over the place. This game's quite different in terms of the physics. It's much harder to get out of bounds. You've got less kind of glitchy movement, and so a lot of this run comes down to just kind of movement optimization, collecting gems as quickly as possible. There's going to be a lot of just kind of going fast in general. So the goal of this category, 120%, is to, as you might have guessed, collect everything. Those stepping stones are not free. There we go. Yeah, so you're supposed to step on all 5 of those without falling in the water, but if you do fall in the water, it can kind of reset them, depending on where you landed. So this is the first flight level. You fly around hitting things. You've got to flame a bunch of these trains, go through some arches, find some planes. The way the flight levels work is you get gems for everything you collect, but then you also get a bunch more gems for collecting everything in one go around. And so that's what we need to do. There's a timer in the top right that kind of goes up whenever you hit something. Nice. I shouldn't be worrying about the timer. We have routes that are typically quite a lot faster than the game expects you to go. I missed that plane over there, which is really bad, so I have to go back for it. Those planes can be manipulated using the camera. If you saw, I kind of turned the camera to the left when I was getting the first train, and then I kind of moved in a specific way when I was going through the first few arches to set the planes up in specific spots. The cycle only really progresses when you're looking at them or when you're close to them. But then the rest of this is just pretty straightforward. Flame these from as far away as possible, and then you can do a little animation cancel here by hitting the wall as you flame the last crate. Normally Spyro does like a loop-the-loop animation after you get everything, but if you hit something during that animation, it just ends instantly and you can leave. Alright, so these things here are dragons. There are 80 of them in the game, and I'll be getting them all. And then these are gems. There are 14,000 of these, and I'll be getting all of them. There aren't 14,000 individual gems to pick up. The different colors have different values. So the reds are worth 1, greens are 2, etc. So first kind of normal level of the game is Dark Hollow. There's some enemies in this tunnel here that can kind of slow you down. This guy can either growl at you or not. I got the growl, which is the bad luck. But if you do some camera manipulation here, you can make this guy not growl. Oh, okay, I messed that up. That's fine. So 2 growls is the worst luck there, but that's whatever. Not a huge deal. This is a key. It opens a locked chest, which I'll get to later in the level. And then yeah, this guy's on a bad cycle. You can only hit him from the back, because he has armor and he's big, so you can't flame him or charge through him. Yeah. And then this is the locked chest, so part of the routing requires you to get the key before the locked chest. This might be kind of obvious. So that was a flame charge. When you charge through a basket, or like one of the flammable gem boxes, if you charge through it, the gem homes in on you. If you just flame it though, the gem doesn't home in and you have to pick it up manually. But if you kind of like flame it very quickly as you're going past it, you can kind of make the game think you charged through it and you get the homing effect even though you didn't actually touch the box, which is just a little optimization you can do in a whole bunch of places. I'll point it out more as I do more of them. these last gems by the return home portal and head out. So I have to leave one level in the first world through this return home portal for the route that I do. One of the levels a bit later on requires you to have done that in order to open up the level. And in fact that level's coming up next. This is Toasty. In order for this dragon head to open, you need to have beaten one of the levels through the return home portal. There is an out of bounds to get into this level, but I don't do it. It doesn't really save time without also incorporating a different trick, which I haven't really practiced. So the enemies in this level are annoying. This level is actually really technical. The dogs you have to flame twice, and then the shepherds, wow, nice. The shepherds tend to hit you if you don't come at them from the right angle or don't connect with your flame, and they hit you really far. Like they can very easily knock you off edges, and you just die and cry. So I hit this guy once, I'll hit him again as I come past. Hopefully I get a thing here. Yeah, so I kind of triggered that dog to chase me as I jumped over the corner, and he followed me and like jumped into the pit, and I just got his gem without having to flame him twice. Probably wasn't very obvious, but there was an extra gem not homed in that I didn't kill anything for. Call that suicide dog. Alright, so this is Toasty, first boss. Bosses in this game are jokes. You don't actually need to do anything really, you just flame them a few times. And then just grab the last couple gems and leave. If you're already next to a return home portal when you want to leave a level, it's faster to go through the return home portal rather than pause and exit out, which is the kind of normal way to leave in speedruns. Stonehill is the longest level in the first home world. It's pretty spread out. There's a lot of like open spaces, so it's kind of sparse, I guess. But there is a cool trick right at the start here, where I'll grab this and then jump on this fountain. Oh, nice. Come on, get up. There we go. So that lets you get up to this section a bit earlier. Saves a little bit of time, just more efficient route. And then yeah, just collecting gems on these hills is nothing really to it. You want to kind of charge jump up slopes where you can. You lose a lot of speed by charging uphill, and oftentimes if you hold like X and square, you get these kind of stuttery charge jumps up hills which go much faster than just charging up. So that's another flame charge, just lets you get that box a bit more efficiently rather than going all the way around the pillar. The big difference between the red gem crates and the silver ones is that you can flame the red ones. The silver ones you have to charge through, and so you can't flame charge them. I also got the first egg thief of the run a bit further back. I guess I'll mention that again when I get the next one. It's coming up soon. I kind of missed it. This is a key. Cool. So we don't leave through that return home portal. The route just works out better to not to do it a bit differently. We end on the dragon in the well down there that I just passed. Just coming back up the well through the whirlwind is pretty slow. You can get all of those without missing any, and it's a little bit faster because you don't have to go back for anything, but it's fairly tricky. And then yeah, just down in here, grab the gems and the locked chest. Oh god. Oh. So there's two enemies outside Stonehill. I'm not going to get them now. It's really awkward to try and get them as you come out of the level, but you kind of go that way anyway, towards the end of the route for this homeworld, so I'll just get them then. And then these guys with the bags take 3, like, every time you flame them they give you a gem, and on the 3rd time they kind of give you 3 gems. Alright. Town Square's the best level in the first homeworld, in my opinion. It's kind of fast-paced, lots of platforming. Get a free health refill there. I didn't really talk about this in the Spyro 3 run, but the little glowing thing following me around, that's Sparks. He's my dragonfly companion. He picks up gems for me when I go near them, but he's also my health, which means, and so like every time you get hit, he changes color. Gold means I'm on full health, blue means I'm 1 hit off full health, and then green. And then when you are 1 hit from dying, Sparks just disappears. And when Sparks is gone, he won't pick up gems for you, and so you have to touch each gem individually. And that's not fun, it's not fast, no one wants to do that, so you want to kind of watch your health a bit sometimes to make sure you don't lose Sparks in a bad spot. So this is a egg thief. There are 12 of them in the game. They all have a dragon egg that we need to collect for 120%. That gem did not home in. Sometimes if you charge through a crate from the very top like that, the gem just doesn't home in. You need to watch out for that. This is a fan chest. You need to flame it 3 times within a certain period of time. But yeah, if you were watching when I flamed the egg thief, you might have seen that I kind of... So what normally happens when you flame an egg thief is you get stopped by it, like there's a little cutscene animation thing where the egg homes in. I kind of skipped that by charge jump, like you flame and then charge jump, and the cutscene triggers while you're in the air in the charge jump, and you don't get stopped by it because you're in the air. That wasn't right. There's you do a certain input when you come out of there to land on the pillar, and I didn't do it right. That's fine. It's really awkward. Alright, so we are just about done with the first homeworld. Just a little bit of cleanup of these enemies. And then this is the first balloonist. They block the way to each homeworld. You're supposed to collect a certain amount of stuff to get to the next world. So to get to Peacekeepers here, I needed 10 dragons. Because it's a 120% run, I'll be collecting everything anyway, so I won't need to worry about the requirements. But that's really important in a 120% run. Sorry, in any percent run. Because there's no way to skip the balloonists that we know of, so the any percent routing basically comes down to getting the quickest possible, like, collectibles to meet the balloonist requirements. It's a cool run that you should check out. It's a bit shorter than this. Alright, so I did a wall glide there to get into night flight early. The way wall glides work is if you glide while kind of rubbed up against a sloped surface, the surface kind of pushes Spyro upwards. I'm not exactly sure why it works physics-wise, but you can maintain your height much better in a glide while you are like against a sloped surface like that. And if you get a really good one, you can even gain height in a glide. It's really cool. Oh, nice. Guess I'll loop back around for that. So this is the only flight where there's no cycles of any kind. Everything you need to hit is stationary. So it really just comes down to everything from as far away as possible, cutting corners. You want to fly as low as possible in these flight levels. You just go faster when you're low towards the ground. The higher you go, the slower you go. And then a little route here that I missed, but that's fine. It's pretty tight to get all that stuff, but I'll just come around and get this arch. Nice, okay. That was a risky animation cancel, but if I'd hit the water a little bit earlier there, I'd have had to redo the whole flight. So yeah, the reason we did that wall glide was to get into night flight early, which kind of makes the homeworld route a bit nicer. You don't have to do like 2 loops around. It doesn't actually save that much time. It's pretty small, but it's nice to do. And then here's another wall glide, hopefully. That's good enough. I think that's good enough. Oh my god, okay. I'll try it again. Okay, that's better. I still fell down though. Can you get up there? Oh my days, okay. So I actually got the wall glide that time and then just fell off. I'll go the other way around, the safe way now. 2 deaths there is not okay. Okay. So those are spring chests. You've seen a few already. You flame them or charge them, and the gem kind of pops out of the top, and you have to grab the gem out of the air. But we do a little thing where we can kind of flame as we jump, and the gem just pops into us. Get them quicker. Didn't do it very well in that room, but there's a few at the start of this level that you'll see. So there were a bunch of spring chests there that I just completely skipped because I have to come back around this way anyway, just because of how the level's laid out. Kind of do 2 loops. So an annoying thing about the way enemies work in this game is when you kill them, their corpses stay solid for quite a long time. And so that can be pretty annoying if you have like a big enemy, you flame it, and then like the gem pops out, but the corpse is still solid, and so you have to kind of jump around the corpse, pick up the gem, and then try and be charging as soon as possible. And then if you charge like into the corpse, you'll bonk on it and lose time. It's an easy way to lose a lot of time. That didn't hurt him. Jumped over that gem. Sparks doesn't pick up gems if you're in the air, which is different from the other 2 Spyro games. This is the only game where that's the case. But if you're not on the ground, he won't pick up anything for you. So these are those little like spring chest hop things. Just hit X and circle. Yeah, go ahead with the donation.
Okay, we have a $10.70 donation from NATO Potato 88 who says, "Love what I've seen so far and the fact that this is going to Beyond Blue. Almost lost someone to depression, but watching speedruns gives me enjoyment and helps take my mind off of things. Keep up the hard work and remember to go fast. Put this towards reader's choice." Thank you for that.
Awesome. So these are fireworks chests. You flame them and it kind of lights a fuse, and then after a couple seconds they explode and you can get the gems. But sometimes we just charge through them instead. We take damage, but it means you don't have to wait for the fuse. So if you have enough health to spare, it's faster to just charge into fireworks chests. These kind of purple clam-shaped containers, they have lives in them. The lives don't count towards percent, and so we don't need to collect them. But I will be getting a few through the run, mostly for safety, but also because we have some death abuses to do later. Clifftown's a pretty tricky level. It's got some tight jumps. The very first one is not tight at all. It kind of looks harder than it is. But kind of jump around this. This is actually a skip. Like, you're not supposed to be able to get around there. You have to kind of go up to the top and glide around to get those gems. But it's pretty easy to just get around there. And then this one's a bit harder. There we go. And then this jump isn't free either. So one of the things I'm doing to make these jumps that are not necessarily intended is a movement tech called a charge glide. I don't know how much you can hear it through the mic, but like every time I glide out of a jump, I'm actually hitting square then X in quick succession. And kind of slide my thumb across the two buttons. What that does is it starts a charge, and then you cancel the charge with the glide. I have no health here, so I'm having to be kind of, there's like a long period of time before I can get any more health as well. This isn't ideal. But yeah, a charge glide, you charge and then cancel the charge with a glide, and that lets you, it kind of moves you faster at the start of the glide. The start of a glide is normally really slow moving. So by charging at the start of it, you just speed it up a bunch, and it means you can make some jumps that you wouldn't otherwise be able to make. And in general, it's just faster. You want to do it every time you glide out of a jump. So this section is going to be awkward with no health, but we will deal. These vultures are a little bit random. They can either like fly at you or not, and depending on whether they do or not, it can change your route for this section a bit. Oh, I already killed it. No, I didn't think I had. Alright. So we get to the top of Clifftown. I think the way this level's supposed to work is that you get this dragon last. did another thief animation cancel at the start there. That was a pretty good one, actually. You kind of charge jump just as the flame hits the thief, and you don't get stopped at all. So fan chests, when you break them, they the top of them kind of shoots off towards, like, in the direction that you were facing when you, or in the direction that you flamed it from. And sometimes you can use that to hit an enemy, which I did right there. I am short a gem. That's unfortunate. So I missed a gem somewhere in one of the previous home worlds. I will go back for it later. I'm intrigued what that would be. But so I'm catching a cycle here. Yeah, nice. So I caught that stair cycle. That's pretty tricky. You're welcome. I got blocked by the enemy's corpse. That was unfortunate. Not a big deal. I actually spawned like right here, so I can just go straight to where I was headed. So that guy like raises and lowers a wall. I got a good cycle there, but even if the wall is up, you can still get over it with a good jump. And then that guy raises and lowers the platform, but if it's high, you can just kind of glide around the side and he'll drop it for you. Missing 2 gems. I'll go straight back in there because I realized that I missed it. Like, you can see your gem count before you leave a level, but it's like you want to be leaving as quickly as possible. It's sometimes you like notice it when you've already pressed the buttons to actually leave, so that's unfortunate. And the worst thing is there's no like indicator to say where you've missed gems like there are in the later games. No. Can you lower, please? I don't know if you even have a 1 gem, but no. None of these guys do. that one. Oh, yeah, okay. I know exactly why I missed that. Okay, so that's unfortunate. Yeah. Double microphone, oh my god. Am I using that one that you just put? Okay, cool. Just cover my face with mic. Oh, good one. So you want to kind of stop and pivot just as you hit that in order to make all the gems home in, but I tried to do that slightly too early and didn't even hit it. This is a key chest, and so you're supposed to get a key for it, but you can actually just break it with the supercharge. Alright, so High Caves is pretty tricky. There's some interesting supercharging kind of shenanigans going on later in the level. Try and get flame charges on these enemies as I come up, but especially on these big wizards it's pretty hard because you can very easily just bonk on their corpses once you hit them. Which, I mean, you still get the gem, but it loses time because you bonked. And then I don't know what cycle I've got up here. Oh, that's actually decent. So I'll do a kind of not very, like a kind of normal supercharge to get a bunch of gems here, and then I'll come back around and do something that's definitely not intended. You can get a animation cancel on that thief, but it's pretty tight window. And hopefully I can pull this off. I practiced it a little bit before the run. Didn't have much time though. I missed that. Yeah, that's fine. I'll come back around. So I'm trying to kill the spiders with the supercharge, and kill the druids with the supercharge, and also like use the pillars as ramps to get up the stairs. You're not supposed to be able to carry the supercharge up these stairs. That's fine. And then just stop it there and get kissed by the fairy. You can carry the supercharge much further, but the route that I do kind of works better if you just get kissed by the fairy there. You can kill these guys. I missed that, but I really need to kill this guy before my super flame runs out. If I'd missed that cycle, I would have cried. Let me just clear this up. Back, I've already got all the gems on here, but like the way this level's laid out, you can't really avoid backtracking over a couple of places that you've already been. These fan chests up here, there's actually a thief off to the side, which you can't see because it's off camera. And I just killed him with the debris from the fan chest. You saw the row of eggs pop up in the bottom of the screen. That shows you that you killed the egg thief, but you never see it. What am I doing? I got confused between two different routes there. So you need to supercharge through that metal crate thing with the purple gem in it, which is why I had to go back. So yeah, this level I'm actually going to do not the same route as I would normally do in attempts, because there's a trick in that which is not too difficult, but when I'm out of practice at it, I like struggle a lot, and I am out of practice in this game, so I'm just going to default back to an old route that doesn't do that trick, because I don't want to be sat here for ages trying to go for it. The flame charges on these enemies are pretty easy. They don't. It's pretty hard to bonk on them. They kind of let you charge past them really easily. Except if you miss the flame button. Alright, and then hopefully I can get this wall glide. Not quite. So if I'd made that, I'd have got there and would have got to skip going back around like this. I'll point out when I get to where I would have got. I would. Actually, no, I won't. I missed it. But yeah, you skip doing some of that backtracking. Cleared out that room pretty well, and then we got some supercharged stuff. Need to be careful because sometimes these enemies, if you supercharge through them, the gem just doesn't home in. And so, what am I doing? That's for the old route, the new route rather. But yeah, we need to be careful with these enemies. There's one of them in particular that I charged through on both times through that section because he's particularly prone to just not giving you the gem when you charge through. So yeah, kill that guy, death abuse. Grab these, and then this is actually a skip. Wow, I got a huge jump there. Is that going to be enough speed? Yeah, it is. Good. Okay, so that's technically a skip. You're supposed to use 2 supercharge ramps to get up here. Like, the longer you charge on supercharge ramps, the more speed you build up. And you're not supposed to be able to reach that with just the speed from one ramp. But by kind of charge jumping onto it like I did, you get extra speed for whatever reason. I'll do that again a bit later in the run to make it to a secret area a bit early. Misposed things. Good job. Oh, good one. So I was trying to flame the 2 right ones so I could get both of the gems in one jump, but I somehow managed to only flame the middle one. Alright. I feel like I'm surrounded by microphones. I'm trapped. Yeah. Buckled in for the ride. Yeah. It's like the belt that comes down when you in a roller coaster. Alright, so I entered that level from the back of the portal, and that's important. There was a dragon like right outside that portal at the front, and by going through like that, I kind of went far enough through the portal before I deloaded the homeworld to actually touch that dragon. And then that dragon counts as collected because you touched it, but you don't have to watch the cutscene because you immediately left the level. And so when I come out of here, you'll see that that dragon is collected, even though I never actually watched the little cutscene. I really hope I actually got it, because if I didn't, then I'll sound like an idiot for saying all that. It's kind of hard to tell if you got it sometimes. I missed one of the planes, but missing planes in this level is not usually a big deal. You kind of pass by them again. And another animation cancel here, by just kind of flying into the bottom of the arch. Yeah, cool. So that dragon is gone. I never actually, like, collected it, but it got collected. Alright, third boss, Blowhard. This level's pretty fun. It's got lots of gems in a very small space, so it's really good in an any percent run. You basically do like everything in this level in any percent. So it looks pretty much the same in both categories. There's a cycle I can try and catch. I've already missed it, but it's on some platforms coming up. But even if you do get it, it's pretty hard to kind of execute. Oh, I missed that. So I missed 2 cycles. Good job. Yeah. So the gems from those druids home in on you, even if you just flame them. There's a few enemies like that in the game. It's pretty nice. You don't need to worry about flame charging or getting close to them or anything. Just flame them from wherever. That room there that I just went through is actually deceptively difficult. It trips up a lot of new runners trying to go through there fast. And, like, experienced runners are capable. Tried to get a double flame on those spring chests. You can hit them both in one flame and then pick up both gems in one jump. And that was Blowhard. Flamed him a couple times and he died, as usual with bosses in this game. But he drops lots of gems. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to Peacekeepers to grab the gem I'm missing. Because I'm worried that I'll forget it if I wait until the end of the run. There's a secret level at the end of the game, which is why this category is 120%. There's 20% in the secret level, and that level only unlocks if you have 100%. So I would have just got all the way to the end and realised that it's in the home world. What? I would have realised that I was just missing a gem somewhere and been annoyed. It wasn't that guy. Oh no, I remember missing that as well. Oh, so sometimes you just charge past those gems and you don't really think anything of it because you can just get them on the way out of the level. But if you forget to get it on the way out of the level, then that happens and you have to go back. Alright, so we're back on track. This is Beastmakers starting now. This is the difficulty really starts to ramp up as you get into the last few home mods. What am I doing? These. So that's a little wall glide around there. It's not required. There's a different route for this first section where you get more stuff before Terrace Village and less stuff afterwards. But as far as I know, this one's a bit faster, going around and then backtracking. So Terrace Village is on global cycles. If you do the first part of the level really quickly, you can catch a really good cycle. If you do it reasonably quickly, you can catch the next cycle after that, and it's still pretty fast. But it's the electric floors a bit later in the level. Okay. This first half is pretty kind of chaotic. It's all over the place. And these enemies hit you really easily. If you miss them, you're likely to get hit. And they have pretty long damage animations as well. Okay, so it's these electric floors up here that are on cycles. Still got a little bit more to go before I have to deal with those. This wall glide is like the easiest thing ever. You just touch the wall and you make it. I intentionally didn't start saying that until after I'd done it, because if I'd said it was so easy and then missed it, I would have embarrassed myself. But yeah, these fireworks break the metal chests. So they kind of determine the route a bit for this section. I missed that. Oh, God, that's awful. Their cycles kind of... cycles? Their damage animation kind of pushes you pretty far. happen. So if you, I'm not 100% sure I got his gem, so I know that. Okay. I did get his gem that time, I know I did. Okay. So I'm just gonna wait for this and then do the rest of this from a good cycle. So that was pretty slow, but whatever. This dragon, occasionally these guys cycles, breaks, I don't know why it happens, and it's only happened to me if I've missed that dragon, so I think it's something to do with that. But like occasionally they'll just not unelectrify the floor and you'll get stuck there forever. That happened to me a couple times. And it's in the home world as well, so you can't even leave the level if you're just stuck. It's a soft lock. So 4th flight level. There's a few different routes for this. I'll do the kind of, I guess, the second fastest route. The fastest route for this is crazy difficult. Even if I was like in practice for this game, I struggle with it a lot. But this section's always the same. You just get the boats and the archers in this long section. But the last route is a mess. It's planes and crates and stuff all over the place. Oh wow, he was wider than I was expecting. That's fine. And then I want to kill the last plane while I'm inside this tunnel so that I can animation cancel on the roof. The whirlwind that takes you out of this pit is really finicky. It doesn't spawn straight away, and if you like charge out of wild flight, it can delay the spawn. Kill this guy, but I'm not even going to bother picking up his gem. I just killed him so that he wouldn't hit me. When I leave this level, I'll pick up his gem just because if an enemy spawns like right outside a level portal that you're leaving, the game just kills the enemy for you so that you don't hit it as you're coming out of the portal. There's a few places where you can make use of that, and that's one of them. That portal just doesn't even appear. Let's pick up this light now. 0. I'll be coming back through this so that gem miss wasn't a big deal. And death, okay. Yeah, feel free.
We have a $10 donation here from Zach, who says, "Great event for a great cause, love your work." Thank you very very much for that.
Thanks, Zach. So the route here's a bit weird. We kind of backtrack to kill that one enemy and then head back up this way. Just works out faster. Some of the movement in this level is really awkward. You've got enemies all over the place. The frogs can hit you from really far away, so you want to flame charge those where you can. These balls would ruin your day. Just come at you. Getting flame charges on the board is pretty hard because they're coming at you fast, and so you need to time it really well or you just get hit by them. Across the roofs. If you fall down here, it's a pretty big time loss. Climbing the stairs is kind of hard. It's not trivial. You want to kind of charge as soon as possible so that you make it up onto the stairs. Obviously. And if you charge for too long, like up in there, you're also going to those trees come at you. If you don't kill them straight away, they eat you, and they have probably the longest damage animation in the game. They take ages to kind of spit you up, or like just chew you up and spit you back out. Oh, that's good. I don't want to have green sparks here. Hopefully I don't take loads of damage, but this room is hell. Get the safety dragon because yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I got everything. So that room is, we call it Guantanamo Bay. It's full of enemies that just kill you. Alright, that was reasonably okay. Especially for having green sparks going into Guantanamo. Alright. So this gem will just be there. If I'd had sparks, it would have just honed in straight away, and I wouldn't have had to worry about it, but because I didn't, I had to kind of stop for it. But I can get it back here, no problem. Alright, Treetops it's cool. It's got a lot of kind of different paths and different areas. Some unintended jumps. Those enemies throw bananas at you if you don't get if you don't kill them straight away. At least I think they're bananas. They kind of explode into what could be like. They kind of look like bunches of bananas, but then they kind of also look like flowers or something like that. Anyway. Just kill them straight away and they don't hit you. As with most things in this game. So I'm going to head over here, but I'm going to Death Abuse to get back up there later, because I need to allow life for the Death Abuse. Because there's a secret island as well that you want to get to, and the best way is from that ramp back up there. And there's not really any way you can go from this island here. So we just get this and then Death Abuse to get back up to the last dragon. The dragons act as checkpoints, by the way. And then that jump is not intended, but by charge jumping onto the ramp, you get more speed going onto it. And then also by jumping once you've already left the ramp. It's a weird timing, but you kind of charge off the ramp and then jump, and you go higher than if you just like hold jump or whatever. But yeah, that skips a whole long like supercharge path, and it's not too difficult either. We snipe this red thief. Normally you can't kill him there and he just activates and runs off and you get him at the end of the level, but slightly faster to just quick kill him there if you can. We have more life because I'm kind of short. And then hopefully I get this. This is stone not skip. Oh, just missed it. So you can use that that thing as a ramp to get up there. I'm not going to go for it again. If I had more lives, I would consider it, but essentially you use that bit of scenery as a ramp to get up there, which lets you get all the way up with only one supercharge ramp. But the intended way is to take that path, and you get the extra speed that you need to get up there. Don't go in the portal. Alright. It does also have the benefit of breaking all those fan chests, because you go through with supercharge. And breaking fan chests without supercharging through them is really slow. Have to flame them 3 times. Alright, so the 4th boss, Metalhead. This is probably the most interesting boss level. Both the level before the boss and the actual boss fight. This stuff exists. So we go down here to grab some gems and also the key for the key chest. Tiny wall guide there to make it over that gap. Get the stuff on the roof. Hopefully I can get... Nah, damn. I got the hard bit but missed the chest by itself. Oh well, I don't normally hit that guy. It doesn't actually matter if you don't hit him. The gem just homes in when he dies, because the big enemy throws the small enemy at you, and if he misses, then the enemy just ends up dying later on, and you just pick up the gem then. And now we have Metalhead. You have to hit these pylons when they're green. When they're red, they damage you. The cycle is based on your movement in that upper area that I just did. I had the cycle and then missed it. That's fine. Hopefully this doesn't go red again. No, it is going to go red again. But he destroyed it for me. Thank you. But yeah, so the cycle for the first phase is based on your movement up in the top section before the fight. And then second phase is just based on the movement between the 2 phases. This one's pretty easy to get. Damn, he's giving me the really good enemy drops here. He throws enemies at you sometimes, and he can break the pylons, which he did twice there. And then just a few more gems to pick up after I've killed Metalhead, and we will head out. And I'll be just about done with the 4th homeworld. Good. Alright, so just a bit of stuff to clean up in the homeworld, and then we'll be on to Dreamweavers. okay. Tried to flame him from long range. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we have a $15 donation from Cringy, who
Hey,
says, "So glad I tuned into this run. Good luck, Dak, and I hope y'all are having a mad time at UniSA."
Thank you, Cringy. So you want to land exactly on that gem at the end there, because talking to the balloonist freezes everything, and so if you don't land on it, Sparks will not be able to pick it up once you start talking to the balloonist. So you kind of jump onto it. Alright, Dreamweavers is by far the longest of the homeworlds, and it's probably the hardest. Very easy to lose lots of time in these levels. But it's really fun as well, so that's good. I'll go for a fast thing here that I might miss. Oh, it's alright, I missed it anyway. So, the idea is to flame that fool and then get the dragon, and you would just be able to make it onto the platform before it came down. But instead, I will hit him now, grab these first, and then get this. So Horny Towers is a long level. It's a fun level if you can execute it well, but it's got some cycles to make, or a cycle to make, and some pretty hard enemies to deal with quickly. The best way to kill enemies is typically to flame charge them, because you get their gem immediately. And these suits of armors are hard to flame charge. You have to be pretty close to them. Oh, I'm not going to make this. Okay, I'll do the backup route. Any mistake there, you basically lost the cycle. I was trying to get to a door that I could break with the super flame, but there is a backup route that I can do. I was considering just death abusing and trying it again, but I didn't have very many lives, so I kind of want to do this. I'm not going to push that. Probably would have been fine, but yeah, I definitely would have been able to make that. Okay, so we're back on track, pretty much. So you have to, that's a little supercharge puzzle. I think most people probably, well, I know I didn't, and I know a lot of people didn't find this area as a kid. You have to go through the metal doors with the supercharge, and then you come to this fairy, which gives you a permanent super flame. It lasts until you die, which means, and like you can use the super flame to kill these armors and to break the strong chests. But if you lose it, then you no longer have a way to destroy those. And all the other fairies in the level are like temporary super flame. And so if I die at any point and lose this permanent one, it's going to be a big time loss. Yeah, I had a decent stairs there. Getting all the flame charges on the armor on the stairs is not easy. Okay. More armor, flame charges hopefully. Missed that one, that's fine. It's quite nice to get that because it means you don't need to duck back into this corner. And you can see how slow it is to turn around for gems if you miss them. Spyro is not really built for maneuverability in this game. He doesn't turn around if efficiently. That was a mistake because I was doing a backup route and I forgot that I was doing a backup route, which means I lost my super flame, which means I have to go do this. Okay, so this is a problem, but I'll manage. Why am I going up here? I don't need to go up here. Alright. Okay. This is going to be pretty slow ending, but we'll manage. I did some very inefficient stuff there, so I didn't make it to the chest. But yeah, I can't kill these guys because I don't have the super flame, so I'll go back, grab a temporary one from up here, and try and clear out as much as I can. Okay. Oh, I missed that guy. Okay. Not good. This is an unfortunate ending to this level. It was going decently for a while, but even with having to do the backup route, I'm gonna have to do this in 3 fairy cycles. Can I... didn't get the door. Okay, did get everything. So that was a mess at the end, but we got everything in the end. You can see how useful the permanent super flame is for not having to keep getting the temporary ones every time. Alright, so I want to pick up a life where I can, because I'm on 0, and that's kind of scary. I think, yeah, I did, okay. So Dark Passage is tricky. It has some enemies that can very easily hit you, even if you're like charging straight at them, which doesn't normally happen in this game. If you just beeline towards something, it usually doesn't hit you. And it's these little metal turtles. You can, if you know how to move properly through this level, you can avoid most of them, but it's pretty tricky, and I'm rusty, so I don't actually remember all the movement properly. Basically, just the enemies in this level make it really hard to go fast in. Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, we have a $10 donation from Phoenix, who says, best of luck to our boy Dact stepping into the 120%. Credit skip? Question mark?
Yeah, I'll go for it. Yeah, thanks, Phoenix. Phoenix is another runner of this category. My boy. Okay, so those turtles can very easily hit you if you don't do that correctly. And then this one we kind of bait to shooting at us earlier so that he's like still in his cooldown so he can't hit us again. Or can't shoot at us again. Gonna get this life. Alright, that's fairly painless so far. So yeah, what Phoenix was alluding to in that donation comment is a skip at the end of the run. It's the biggest single time save in the game. It skips a set of credits that you normally get for beating the final boss. I'll obviously go for it. I'm fairly consistent at it. I've practiced it in the practice room a bit, and I was getting it, so. But it's a pretty big time loss if you miss it. Wanted to make that dog come out. Did that gem not home in? Oh, I hope it did, but if it didn't, that's really bad. I'm not even sure what the best backup is for that. I waited for so long as well. Yeah, damn, okay. So, what's the best way to go about this? I think have to go all the way back through this path. Like the way this level is laid out, you have like a secret path that has that firework on it, and I need to get back onto the secret path. I think. Wait, I might be. Did I need to do that? I haven't like run through this game, this level without just like doing the speedrun route in quite a while, so I maybe didn't need to take as much of a detour as I did, but that's a really awful gem to miss. Okay. Yeah, you kind of wait at the top of that step for both of them to home in, but occasionally it just takes extra time that you didn't account for. What am I doing? I've already killed him. Okay. So now I've got some homeward stuff to do, and then we will head into Icy Flight. But this homeward's kind of laid out weirdly. You have this cannon that shrinks and unshrinks the enemies. I should not have gone for that. Yeah, that kind of shrinks and unshrinks the enemies. And there's two enemies blocking a set of stairs that takes you up to Icy Flight. And you can skip past those enemies, but you won't get their gems. So it's like, it's useful in 80%, but for this you actually do need to go up to the cannon and shrink them so that you can grab their gems. Going for a slightly faster strat here that I probably shouldn't have without practice. So yeah, this is the cannon. You use it to shrink these two guys. Oh, I thought I missed, and so I shot again. Alright. Oh, come on. Can't get up like this. Okay, there we go. My movement's a bit all over the place here. It's partly because the game just gets harder, like the movement gets more technical, I guess, a bit more tricky as you get further through, but also I'm just out of practice. So Icy Flight is maybe my favourite flight. No, probably second favourite after Crystal Flight. There's a train cycle that you want to catch. If you get the stuff at the start here as quickly as you can, you'll get this train as it's coming through here. If you go a bit too slow, you'll miss it, but you can get it later. It's not a huge time loss. And then these guys are on consistent cycles, going up and down. We skipped that train because we want to animation cancel off it at the end. Like so. This isn't any percent. I might... No, that's fine, that's fine. So I kind of run any percent for this game more often than I run 120. So occasionally I'll like come out of a level and I'll start doing the any percent movement just out of muscle memory. But yeah, this is Lofty Castle. People either love or hate this level. It's kind of cool aesthetically, but it's a real pain in speedruns in some ways. Missed some stuff there, that's fine. I'll still get a good cycle on this guy. Missed a gem. Okay. This section is super laggy and it's really easy to get charge glides dropped. I mentioned charge glides earlier. You charge and then cancel the charge with a glide to get better, like more distance on your glide. But if one of the inputs doesn't come out because it's lagging, you'll either just get a normal glide, which doesn't go as far and so can mean you miss a jump, or you won't get the glide at all and you'll just charge straight into the pit. Both of those being very bad outcomes. Had to collect so many lives this run. It's all good. So you do a little bit of manipulation there to put the balloon guy, the first balloon guy, in a good spot. By going, you don't take the fastest possible path up to that whirlwind. You kind of go a bit further to the left, like hug the wrong edge of the ledge, I guess. And it sets the balloon guy up in the right spot. I don't know why that works, but it does. Another quick supercharge thing, skip a ramp, and destroy this. I didn't mean to jump there, but it's all good. Don't get this dragon quite yet. If you see me flaming while I'm gliding, it doesn't actually do anything, it's just buttons to press. So people in chat sometimes ask, like, why do you always flame when you're gliding or going up whirlwinds? Does it make you go faster? But it doesn't. Would be cool if it did. So yeah, the thing in this level is you're freeing fairies from cages, and when you get 3 of them in an area, they like activate a whirlwind, which lets you get to a different area. The one in the first kind of section we can skip, but the rest of them we actually do have to free the fairies. Okay, thankfully these little turkey things don't, their gems home in when you flame them, so can kind of flame them from wherever and you don't need to worry about having to pick up the gem. Kind of glide into this from high up so it has less distance to carry you. Oh, tried to get a double there but it didn't work out. That's unfortunate. That's not... Oh, that's a pretty bad death, actually. Damn. Yeah. Go over this way. So at this point I'm just clearing out the last few things in the level. Got this section down here, which you kind of have to do last in this route because you get the key chest in a different, the key for the key chest in a different spot. There is a different route for this level that involves a damage boost and some harder supercharged stuff, but haven't learned it. I'll grab this life. There's a way to crash the game on this dragon. If you light this fireworks chest over here and then go and grab the dragon, if you time it right, the game just crashes. I think it's because the fireworks chest explodes at the same time as the dragon like unlocks. Alright. Okay, so I'm good on gems. There was one place where I was worried I'd missed something, but I didn't. And then this is Jacques. He's the last boss I get. Well, I guess if you count the final boss, then he's not the last boss, but the route for this level is pretty interesting. What we used to do a few years ago was we'd end with the boss. We'd end with killing Jacques and then just leave. But turns out it's actually a decent bit faster to kind of head straight for the boss. Detouring a bit for gems and stuff, but you kind of do the boss and then backtrack through the other path. These platforms are not easy to... I'm just gonna go slow. There we go. Okay, so grab the key chest and then head straight down here. Skip this dragon for now. It's faster to get it on the way back, just because of where it puts you in the cutscene. And then just chase Jacques for a bit. So we'll get these gems up by the return home portal while he's dying, then grab his gems, and then head back towards the rest of the level. Get the dragon. And the nice thing is, if you end on the boss, you have to go down these stairs and collect all the gems, which is actually really annoying. You have to kind of slowly walk down each step to make the gem home in. It was a really annoying part of the old route. There we go. So I flamed that guy to make him lower a platform a bit further up here, which I'll use to get over here. Then you have to kind of swing out a bit further, swing out a bit if you want to get all these in one glide. And then, because I got that life, I'll go for this. Yeah, easy. Ugh, less easy, okay. I had it and then I just flopped off the wall. What you're supposed to do there is flame this fool and he makes a platform come out for you. But that wall glide to the whirlwind is not too difficult. I basically got it, but then I flopped off the wall. Okay. So that's Dream Move is done. That was the longest home world by a decent margin. We just have Nasty's World left to go. Nasty's World is pretty short, it only has 4 levels, and one of them is just the final boss, so... Heading into the home stretch. These levels aren't easy though, especially this first one, Naught Cove. It's very easy to lose a lot of time here just to movement and to little mistakes. So grab this dragon first and then clear out some stuff in the home world and then head into Naught Cove. It's actually possible to bonk on the portal on some of them if you come at it from the right angle. The portal just stays solid and you don't go through it. So these enemies with the barrels are pretty awful. You can't flame charge them, and they're big, and they take forever to die. I believe there's a faster route for this section that I haven't kept up with. It's been a while since I've updated my strats for this category. Yeah, flame this guy's TNT. Takes... oh, nice. Didn't mean to take damage there. And, yeah, okay, so you can jump up like that. Get some health. And then hopefully I get this trick here. Nice, okay. So, when you blow up that guy's TNT, it's not supposed to break that strong chest, but by positioning yourself in the right spot and timing it right, the TNT hitbox just gets expanded for whatever reason. It actually kills an enemy through a wall as well, that I'll point out later. So yeah, there's like a row of enemies on barrels here, and the end one is already dead. He's just a gem on the ground. If I hadn't got that trick with the TNT, there would be another enemy right here. Nice, I got all of those. Oh, what? I got the single? So normally what happens there is you hit both enemies with one barrel, and then you hit the strong chest with the other barrel. But I managed to only hit one of the enemies, which is really awful. And also, I don't think I did get all of these. Yeah, okay, I did miss one. I thought that homed in. Good job I checked that. Oh my god, and no health for this section. That's pretty awful. There's lots of gems here, and I have to pick them all up manually because I lost all my health. Ah, that's a thing you can go for that I didn't do right. So the actual way you're supposed to do this is by hitting him with the barrel first. Right, so hopefully I haven't missed a gem here. It's pretty easy to do. Yeah, I'm good. Alright. Alright, so Twilight Harbor is one of the most fun levels in the game if you do it right. There's lots of flame charges, lots of enemies that like can kill you, but you just get to them before they have a chance to, or you avoid their shots. It's not like that. I'm not gonna get another life because I'll go for... oh, great. If I can do the skip at the end with the correct amount of lives, I'll be able to save some time by game over. Part of me is worried that I'm on 0 though, and I just didn't realise, because there is a death abuse coming up. So I might just get the one at the top anyway, before go the game over. So you flame this to raise the ramp, grab this guy to get the checkpoint, and then we'll do some supercharge stuff. I'm just gonna grab this. Oh, okay, I was on 1. I couldn't remember if I was on 1 or 0. Like, that's not what I was supposed to do. I would actually, now I think about it, it's because there's 2 death abuses here. I would have needed to get that one regardless, so that actually worked out quite well. Why is he not? Oh my god. Don't know why I'm not getting up all the way. Don't normally hear this part of the music. Alright, so death abuse to get back to the supercharge ramp, because there's some other stuff we need to do with it. Because we need to break this strong chest. Alright, that went pretty well. Okay. So I got most of the flame charges there. Did that bridge reasonably okay. I got hit once. Alright. So coming up is the skip that I was talking about earlier. Really hope I can get it. If I get it first try, I'll save more time because I'll game over. I'm actually going to grab sparks here because it's nice to have extra health going for this. It's not required. You only need green, but having more just gives you more leeway. So the first thing I need to do is clear out this first section. I need to get some keys and I need to grab all the gems. Yeah, so this section's just clearing out gems, but then I'll be doing Nasty Nork. You only need to flame him twice, he's an easy boss, but the most important thing is on this first phase, if you can collect all the gems while also like reaching him at the end before he runs away, but it's reasonably tight if I miss like if I miss some spring chest hits or something, or like have to turn around for a gem, then I'll miss it and need to run around a whole extra time. Oh my god, this might still be fine. Might have missed that. That did, okay. I was worried about one of those blue gems. Yeah, no, okay. Missed that by a mile, that's a shame. So if I'd not missed getting that yellow spring chest, I would have been able to flame him without having to chase him around an extra time. What I'm doing here is staying as close to him as possible to make him move faster. You can get pretty far ahead of him, but he slows down if you get ahead of him for whatever reason. It's like the opposite of rubber banding. You just want to stay as close as possible. Alright, then you do this last section with the lava, and we'll go for credit skip. Good, okay. So, I got that. What happened there is I I set up in a specific spot, took damage, and then jumped into him as he hit me, which made him proxy me up. So I got like boosted up into the air, flew around the wall, like underneath where Nork was, and then flamed him through the floor. And then once I'd flamed him, Spyro, I lost control of Spyro, but he continued gliding into the lava. And died before the ending cutscene had a chance to trigger. So it skips an entire like 3-minute set of credits by doing that. It's pretty tricky to learn, but once you kind of understand how it works, you can get it reasonably consistent. So yeah, that saved 3 minutes in case it wasn't obvious. Biggest single time save in the game. Again, sniping a thief with a fan chest, missed his key, good movement. And yeah, this is Nasty's loot. This is where the last 20% comes from. You're just collecting a whole bunch of gems. There's no dragons in here. This level only unlocks once you have 100%. And there's these planes that you have to get keys from. There are setups to quick kill them. They're kind of tough, so I might not get them, but we'll see. Nice, okay, I got one. That's the easier one, and then I missed the firework. That's unfortunate. This is the harder one, but if I miss it, there's a kind of backup strat that I can use. Nah, I didn't even trigger him. That's fine. So you can kind of trigger him to fly past you there and you flame up and hit him, but instead I can just kind of go halfway across this tunnel, come back and kind of snipe him as he starts moving. Like that. And so the aim of this level is to just get as high as possible, because you can only glide from a height. Like once you start flying, you have a height cap that is like the highest you've glid from. And so by getting higher in the level, you can raise your height cap, which lets you get more stuff. So we're kind of approaching time reasonably soon. We've just got one more room here. So you just clear out this room full of purple gems. It's like 1,000 gems in here, it's crazy. So you guys ready on time? Are we ready? Okay, good. I'm just gonna, yeah, I've got everything, and time. Alright. So that's Spyro 1. That was not a good time. My PB's about over 10 minutes faster than that, but I'm not well practiced at this game. I got first try credit skip though, which is really cool.